Let's dive into one of the weirdest, most mind-bending things our brain does. You know what I'm talking about, that 10-minute power nap that feels like you've been gone for an entire lifetime. What is actually going on in there? Right? You jolt awake, your heart is pounding, you're totally disoriented. You scramble for your phone, absolutely positive you've slept for hours and missed something huge, only to see 10 minutes have passed. It's a bizarre feeling, but it happens to so many of us. Well, if this has happened to you, let me just say you are not alone. And no, your brain isn't broken. In fact, it's a sign that your brain is doing something incredibly complex and, honestly, pretty amazing. Think of it this way. It's not a bug, it's a feature. So, what is this 10-minute lifetime really all about? Let's peel back the layers and get into the science of how your brain can just completely warp your sense of time. Now, the common myth is that these are just, meaningless, random dreams, a bit of brain static. But the reality is way cooler. Your brain isn't just idling, it's kicking into this state of hyper-efficient overdrive, processing information at a speed that is just mind-boggling. So how exactly does your brain hit the fast-forward button? Well, the science points to a very specific stage of sleep, and a phenomenon that honestly feels like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. Okay, so the key idea here is something called time dilation, and it happens during REM sleep. That's the stage where our most vivid dreams go down. During this phase, your brain's internal clock basically unplugs from the real world. It just stops paying attention to the actual time and starts running on its own much, much faster schedule. This is the perfect way to picture it. Your brain becomes this master film editor. It's in a dark room, totally cut off from the outside world. And it starts grabbing memories, anxieties, little sparks of creativity from days, weeks, even years ago, and just splices them all together into this super condensed story. It's a rapid-fire montage of your life, and you're experiencing it in what feels like real time. And it makes sense, right? Without the sun, without a clock, without any outside sounds to ground it, your brain is totally free to build entire worlds. The stories it tells aren't limited by physics or logic. And because these dream stories are often so emotionally charged, thanks to a part of the brain called the amygdala working overtime, they feel incredibly dense and important. And that feeling is what stretches out your perception of how long it all lasted. But here's the thing. This isn't just some random quirk. This super fast dream time has a really profound purpose. Your brain isn't just showing you movies for fun, it's running some essential software updates in the background. See, this isn't chaos, it's a highly organized process. About half of what it's doing is memory consolidation. That's your brain's inner librarian, sorting through the day's experiences, figuring out what's important enough to keep. Then about 30% is emotional processing. This is where it might rehearse a tough conversation or work through a stressful memory. And that last 20%, that's pure, uncut, creative problem solving. Exactly. Neuroscientists think your brain is using this time-warped state to run incredibly complex simulations. It's like a virtual reality sandbox where it can test out different scenarios, work through problems, and smash together unrelated ideas to find that aha moment. All of this in the span of a 10-minute nap. And this brings us to the coolest part of all of this. Once you understand what's happening, you can actually start using it to your advantage. You can literally wake up smarter. So the big takeaway here is to totally reframe this experience. That disoriented "what year is it" feeling isn't a glitch. It's proof that your brain is a high-performance machine doing incredibly complex work while you rest. It is absolutely a feature, not a bug. So how do you actually harness this? Well, first, stop rushing off these dream adventures as just weird nonsense. Pay attention to the feelings and ideas. Second, keep a notebook right by your bed. That brilliant solution you cooked up can vanish in seconds, so you've got to write it down the moment you wake up. And finally, just trust the process. Know that even when you're resting, your brain is putting in the work. When it all comes down to it, the Dreamtime paradox isn't about you losing time at all. It's about your brain's incredible, almost magical ability to create its own time. A space perfectly designed for learning, healing, and solving problems. So I'll leave you with a question for our next explainer. What is really going on in your brain when you get that intense, spooky, unexplainable feeling of déjà vu? We're going to get into that next time.